Good morning, Beastro fans. Jill here from the Pet Bistro, and today I have a special guest, Lisa.
Hi,
Harness
hi
Lead.
Jill. Hi everyone.
Hello. I'm so glad you could join us today. So we
Thank you
are
for
celebrating.
inviting me.
Yeah. Today starts National Dog Walking Week. So Dog Walking Week is October 1st through the 7th. And I thought how appropriate it is to have a brand like Harness Lead represent how we can help people get out and walk with their pets.
Yes, for sure.
Um, so walking is important. It does a lot of things, stress relief for both humans and pets. A small walk a day. I know if you guys watch our Chiro chats, we talk about how small walks can really help with mobility and reduced inflammation and things like that. So Lisa probably has a product that we could maybe use for our pets. So here we are. We're going to talk about Harness Lead today.
Yeah, hi. Well, thanks for having me, Jill.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. So yeah, coincidentally, I created Harness Lead, which is a leash and a harness in one. I actually did create it when I was a volunteer dog walker at a county animal shelter. So I did that for many years, went every day, walked the dogs, and it was like an amazing time. Because the shelter dogs, they really just depend on volunteers coming and walking them and just giving them, hope, really. So I created it for one dog at the shelter. And we had to use a slip lead on him because we couldn't fit a traditional harness on him. And the slip leads are great in shelter work because you can just hook it around their neck. But the only bad part is they start choking and gagging on the walk, and you really don't have a whole lot of control over them with the slip lead. It's great for just moving the dog from one place to another quickly, but as far as taking them on a long walk, it became really hard on the dog and on the dog walker. So after about 2 weeks of this poor dog choking and gagging, I thought maybe I can try to make a harness out of that slip lead.
Mm-hmm.
So I went home, and at the time I had a pack of 4. So I had 4 dogs to practice on. And I started just working with rope and, just doing in different configurations. And I came up with this particular configuration. I looked down and I said, oh my gosh, we have needed this. We have needed this at the shelter all these years, because I knew that this device could fit anybody. So we wouldn't have to have this problem of trying to find all these different size harnesses to fit all these different breeds and all these different body types. And we were able to just take this tool and use it on anyone. Wasn't choking them, but it was control. You had control over the dog. But it was a gentle form of control. It wasn't, choking and gagging them while they're trying to enjoy usually their one walk of the day. So then I, brought it to the shelter. We started using it and realized that it reduced pulling on a lot of the dogs. A large majority of the dogs it was reducing pulling on. But the thing that I realized about it the most was that it was escape proof. And so many shelter dogs can be so skittish and scared. Many of them have never even been on a leash before, never been on a walk. And you're walking them on busy roads and this type of thing. You hear a loud truck go by. They can get very spooked. They stop. They know how to duck their heads, move their shoulders in, and back right out. And there's a lot of breeds that if that happens, they're gone. And
we hear about that a lot in the greyhound world. So a lot of
yeah.
greyhound. It's like I've seen greyhounds flip a harness off with an old dirty t-shirt.
Yeah. And so I realized, wow, okay, this is actually escape proof. We have never to this day found anybody that could back out of it because of the design of it. You're not, when a dog is backing out of something, you're actually inadvertently pulling it off of the dog. In this case, you can't yourself pull it off the dog. And that's the difference. And that's the reason why they're not able to get out of this one.
So it
So
sounds like harness lead. So a lot of people build a business because of passion. I was passionate
yes.
about pet nutrition and I wanted to feed better and tell everybody about it. And it sounds like yours really came simply from problem solving and making a better solution for these shared cleared shelter dogs.
Well, when you say passion, my life was volunteering at that shelter. I mean,
Of
my
course.
life, I spent every waking moment there when I was not working or taking care of being a mother or anything else. I was at that shelter.
That's awesome.
So besides walking the dogs, I just lived and breathed it. I found them rescues. I trained the other volunteers. I did a newsletter for the shelter. I just took pictures, advertised Facebook, social media. As all shelter volunteers know, you just start your shelter volunteering starts to grow, and then you want to help them more and more and more. So yeah,
So
my life
passion
was,
and problem solving.
yeah, my life was walking those dogs. So it did come out of that passion. And I never, grew a business before or invented anything or anything like that. So I had nowhere to start. But I did know that the shelters and the rescues did need this because of the fact primarily that it was escape proof and that it was so versatile. It could be used as a slip lead if you needed to. It could be, used as a harness when you needed to. So it had many different uses.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I needed to at least get it out there to that world. And then it just started to grow where, people that just needed help with problem solving of their dog pulling or their dog escaping or just fitting their dog properly into a harness, they started needing it. So then it just grew and grew and grew from there.
That's awesome. So after you used it on your shelter dogs, you then came up with a design pattern. And then how did the company kind of grow from there?
So originally I was making them myself by hand. I was just going to Home Depot, getting some rope and just sewing it. Actually, a funny story, the original harness leads, the stops, right now they have the rubber stops.
Mm-hmm.
But back then I was hand whipping them with paracord. And somebody in Home Depot that worked in the plumbing department, I was, just going around Home Depot trying to find something to use as these stops. And he said, oh, and he was like an old hippie and he had this necklace on and it had this knot. And he goes, oh, you want me to show you how to make this? So he brought me over to the rope department and he showed me how to do this whipped knot, which slid back and forth. Mm-hmm. So the first harness lead was done with that whipped knot, thanks to the friendly gentleman that worked at Home Depot. And I have since gone back and thanked him and everything for that because he did get me started with that. And then after that, I ended up finding, a rope manufacturer. That wasn't easy, but I did eventually find one that was willing to work with a small company who could only order 100 at a time, at the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm still with that same company. I have grown with that company. They have been amazing. It's made right in Chicago. And I mean, it's all handmade too. So harness lead takes, quite a lot of skill and it's very tedious to make because of the splicing. Mm-hmm. So it's all hand spliced in Chicago by artisans. And it's an age-old technique that is actually, it's the strongest way to finish off two pieces of rope together. So there's different ways to join two ends of rope together. You can use a metal clamp or you can sew it, but harness lead is spliced just like marine rope is, dock line. And so it's strong enough to actually hold a boat to a dock, and what it is you're taking two ends of rope and you're splicing them together to essentially form one piece of rope. And it's actually the only method of joining two ropes together that are two ends of rope together that will retain a rope's full strength. So the more this gets pulled on, the tighter this gets in here and the stronger it gets. So it's one of the only ways that over time, the leash actually gets stronger versus weaker.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's some great information. Because I think that that's a fear that people always think, if their dog gets, it goes back to that escape proof thought process too, that we have a really sturdy rope that is between us and our dog 6 feet away.
Yeah. And we've, the tensile strength is something that you have to be aware of. And rope particularly has a strong tensile strength. So our leash has like a 3,000-pound tensile strength. So it's not going to snap or come apart by pulling. Now, it isn't chew proof. It isn't sever proof. You can cut it with a knife, or a dog can chew through it, unfortunately. So when you're not walking your dog, you want to put it away, put it up high. So I hear all the time, I put it on the table and the dog reached up, grabbed it off the table and chewed it apart. Well, we try to put that on the packaging, and we try to advise that it isn't just that's the non-escape proof part, is that the dog can chew through it. So, but as far as just breaking or coming apart, that's why we go the extra step to actually have the leash spliced versus some type of other clip that could fail.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now, do you guys do any product like standard testing on the items, or do you guys do, what do you do for quality control?
Yeah, before we came out with it, we did a lot of product testing. I had a lot, just used it myself. I had a whole bunch of other people testing it and using it as well. So yeah, we did. And also because it's made in the same way and by a marine rope manufacturer, that rope and this method has been tested over, many, many, many years. And so it's just the method that has been used for centuries on, joining two ends of rope together.
That's pretty awesome. Out of curiosity, do you still have the local shelter that you worked at or volunteered at? Do they still use these items?
Yes, they do. And of course, I donate them all the time. And also a portion of the proceeds, does go to shelters and rescues as well. So I try to keep up with it that way. And I deal with many, many, many shelters now across the country and even across the world. I have rescues as far as in Spain, Australia that use it. Spain in particular, they have a rescue called Galgos del Sol. And that particular group, they only use harness lead when they're transporting these galgos from Spain into JFK Airport and out. And these galgos are coming all the way from Spain. They have to be then put on a leash and walked through JFK Airport. And the only thing they use and the only thing they will use is harness lead. So of course I donate to them and many other rescues.
And I always tell people, especially when I was pretty heavy into rescue, you never know when you're going to come across a loose dog or a dog that doesn't have, they might have a collar, but they might not. I always keep some sort of slip lead in my car, even because it's easy to make it large and loop it around. You don't have to be close, super close proximity to the dog to get something around their neck to have some sort of control over them, to try and figure out, what's going on or to keep the dog out of traffic. So this would be a perfect item just to keep in your car too, just when you need a leash or you need a slip lead and it's just one of those moments.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
People tell me that all the time. I always keep a harness lead in my car.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
and you run into dogs that got out of their yard or whatever, wandering around.
Been there, done that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, slip leads are very useful for that. Absolutely. And that's why it's nice, because you can use this as a slip lead, but you can also use it as just a collar lead. So if you want to use it as a slip lead, you would just move the one stop out of the way, so then it would tighten. But you could also just use it as a collar lead so that it's like a collar, but doesn't tighten. So
Nice.
now that way I wouldn't say is escape proof. The escape proof, really the escape proof is the harness,
Right.
the way it goes around the dog. Like if you wanted to show the video of how it goes
Yeah.
on,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
that's really the way it should be used if you want to prevent escape.
Yeah. All right. We'll show the video. It's a quick minute and a half here. It goes
Yeah.
over how to put the harness lead on a dog, which at first it can be. I looked at the directions the first time. I was like, okay, this looks overwhelming. But on the package, you guys have a great like step-by-step tutorial and super easy to follow. And I was able to put it on a dog first try. So it's
Yeah. And
even if you open the
sometimes
package, you can see what to do and how to do it.
I know, because you look at this and you're like, how does that make a harness? And the funny thing is, it's like I tell people, you don't have to learn to macrame. It's not that complicated.
Right.
It's very, very simple, but there's a couple of key things to listen and to the instructions,
Yeah,
opening along the back, and then a particular way to size it for your dog.
right.
Super simple, but the first time, yes, it's new to the brain. So the brain is like, I'm rejecting this information. But once the brain accepts it, it's quick, 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 and easy.
It totally is. So, all
And
right, I'm gonna play. Go ahead.
to that point, like we have so many rescues using it because it's simple.
Mhm.
Especially like, one of the most famous is Villa Lobos Rescue Center, pit bulls and parolees on Animal Planet. You
Mhm.
see it all the time on the TV. That's the only harness they use. And that's the only harness they use in their dog walking program. So if you go to Villa Lobos to walk their dogs, you're going to be using a harness lead.
You'll have to figure out how to put it on.
Yeah. No, they put it on for you and they bring the dog
Oh,
out.
perfect. They're pros then.
They're pros. Yeah.
Yeah,
And believe me, anybody with that many dogs and,
yeah.
that uses, you can tell it's got to be easy. They wouldn't use something complicated.
Right, right, definitely. All right, so let's play the video and then we can talk about a little bit more about how the harness goes on. And
Hi everybody, this is my dog Baggins, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to put the harness lead on. You start out with it just like so, put it over the dog's head, the slit opening, position it along the shoulders. And then to size it for your particular dog, you just take these two black stops and all you do is move them so they're in line with the back of the front leg. Then starting on the metal ring side, you just take the leash and go underneath the dog's body, bring the handle up through the slit opening, bring the rubber disc up through, and then just lower the disc down. It reduces pulling by tightening around the barrel only, so you don't have the tightening around the neck. Baggins, you ready to go for a walk? All right, come on, let's go.
what a good
That's
pup.
funny. So let me just say that when it said, Baggins, you ready for go for a walk? My dog just looked up. He's on the couch over here. I'm like, oh no. No, he's not going to leave me alone. He wants to go for a WALK.
Right.
We're not going yet. Later.
So Baggins is your pup then.
Oh yeah, he's a funny one.
That's awesome.
Let's
So
get
it looks
Chewbacca.
yeah, you're actually right. Once you get it looped around, it looks like it's pretty easy to get on the dog and get out the door.
Yes, it's super simple. If it wasn't simple, it wouldn't be good for shelter and rescue work, but it is simple. It's again, you can even just use it, like I said, as a slip lead, as a collar lead. So there's lots of it's versatile.
Yeah, cool.
And it can fit all those body types. There's some body types that are hard to fit. I know when I was a volunteer in the shelter, we used to get so many things donated to us. Basically that's what we used.
Right.
People would just bring us their old harnesses or whatever. So we had this box of like every kind of harness you could ever imagine. So before I thought of this, I had really used every single kind of harness out there. But some of them just don't fit every kind of dog. I mean, there's the pug body, and then there's the greyhound body, and then there's the Saint Bernard, and then there's of course the pit bull body, which there's all kinds of pit bull bodies. There's big ones and narrow ones. And so just a lot of different body types, and that they're not easy to get into a harness. And the older some harnesses get, the harder they are to adjust. They start to swell and difficult to adjust so I remember that particularly. So, it helps with different body types and breeds.
Yes. Now I know so there's two sizes, right? There's small, medium, and large, extra large.
Yeah. So there's actually small, medium, which is around 14 pounds to 40. And the reason why I say 14 pounds, it's just like a general dog weight that would be a little bit of a bigger dog than a tiny, because of the fact that it's not good for teeny tiny dogs. And the reason is because you have this long leash going under this teeny tiny body, and that's not easy to get on. Mm-hmm. And also if their legs are too little, their legs could just step out, as they can with other harnesses too. So I just feel like it's better for a little bit bigger. So it's 14 pounds to 40 for the small, medium. Mm-hmm. And then the medium large is the next size. And that is basically 40 pounds up to like 170. I mean, it could go even higher because but the thing is that the bigger the dog gets, the shorter the leash gets, because you're wrapping the leash around the dog. So when you're talking about a 170-pound dog, you've got a short leash. A lot of people don't really care because at that point they want a short leash for that size dog. Sure. But so the length is a variable according to the weight of the dog, really, or the girth of the dog.
Yeah. And then, so for the smaller dogs, like 1 teacup size to 14 pounds, is it more or less because of the amount of rope needed to wrap around them? We just don't have that amount. Plus they are.
For the teacup dog, it's just not easy to get on a tiny little dog like that. Sure. Because if you have a tiny dog and you're trying to get the leash over the head, now you have this long leash, you have to take it underneath this tiny body. That's not it's not ideal. So instead of coming out with something that is, I like to say this leash is escape proof. It's escape resistant. It's, it's going to keep your dog secure. But I don't want to bring it out to a kind of dog that maybe could get out of it because of having a small arm. He could maybe step out or something like that. So that's why I don't even bother to bring it out for that size dog or market it for that size dog, even though I do have those dogs using it. I don't market it for those dogs. So yes, you can take the small, medium, and you can make it small enough for a teacup dog, but it's just not ideal. It's not easy to get on them. And so, I don't recommend it per se.
Great information. Thank you. Do we have any new items coming out? I know
I do.
Favorite question.
I've been busy. One of them is in the works, so it's coming out. I would say it's maybe at the most 2 months out. It takes time to get all the things done to bring a new product out, but it is a variation of the harness lead that, I have been asked for a few years now. People have wanted this type of harness lead. So I am coming out with that soon.
Perfect. Cool. Any color?
We'll be coming out with some matching collars.
Cool.
That's probably for 2021 because again, things take time.
Yeah.
So that's something that's in the works, matching collars for the harness lead. And I'm also actually coming out before those two things, probably even a compostable waist bag. That doesn't have anything to do with harness lead, but it's a waist bag that's made in the US, and it's truly home compostable. So it's not just compostable if you drive it to a compostable plant, but it also is compostable and will break down in your own home garden. It's made of non-GMO corn. So coming out with that as well as an add-on.
Well, those are important to take on your walk. So
Yeah, exactly.
bagless.
So and a compostable waste bag holder. So the waste bag holder is also made of a compostable plastic. It's not plastic, it's a non-GMO corn. So not only the poop bag is compostable, but also the holder.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing those items, and I think the collars will be a big hit as well. So
Yeah.
looking forward to all those new things.
Me too.
Good.
They never get out.
Right? All right. So it looks like we had just a couple quick comments, not really, and maybe a question here from Teresa. So Teresa said she was just excited to learn about Harness Lead and your company. So thank you for
Thank
joining
you,
us, Teresa. She also says, so she has an Iggy. He's a little bit bigger. He could be considered a small whippet. He's probably like 20, 24 pounds. So he currently rides in a car seat for safety reasons. A harness he currently has a metal loop on the back that the doggy car seat belt clips into.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to clip the belt to this harness?
No, I wouldn't recommend that. It really is a dog walking tool, and unfortunately, it's just not rated for car safety, and it also tightens around the barrel of the dog. In order for it to be escape-proof, it needs to tighten around the barrel to keep the dog secure. So if you're in a car and you were to get into an accident, it's going to tighten around the barrel if there's a lot of pressure put on it. So that's why I would not recommend it to be used. You really need a regular car rated harness for car safety. And then if you're taking the dog on a walk, you can switch it over to the harness lead. Now it's a little bit more work, but it's safer to do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody else if you have questions or you're catching our interview later, please go ahead, put your questions in the comments. We'll make sure that we circle back around and get them answered for you. Somebody either on our team, or if I need to reach out to Lisa, we can get an answer from Lisa as well. We do have a couple of our employees, Jennifer and I believe Josephine, who also have used and are currently using the harness lead with their current dogs. So if you guys have any questions about how to put the harness lead on, or you get it home and it looks really confusing, I know we have quite a few staff members that would be more than happy to help you put it back onto the dog and figure it out, and maybe coach you through it a couple times to make dog walking a lot more easy for you. Just one more quick thing here from Teresa. She says, thank you. She's still going to get one for walking. He doesn't pull, but she loves the fact that it's escape proof. So
awesome. Well, I know you mentioned Teresa has a whippet.
So he's an Italian Greyhound. He's on the bigger side though.
Okay.
And then she also does have a full-size Greyhound, and then she has a little petite old senior Iggy who has captured her heart, and she probably doesn't get out and do much like her younger Italian Greyhound. So
because I actually had a whippet mix, Teresa, and that dog originally came from Puerto Rico, and so when I actually thought of the harness lead just at the same time that I was adopting this dog. And so I tested it on him because he had really never walked on a leash before. And if anybody could get out of a leash, it was him. His name was Rinky, and he could get out of anything. And whippets are known to be able to squirm out of things, but he could not get out of it. So I knew right then and there, okay, this is it. This is really secure here, because he was flipping in the air trying to get
Wow.
trying to get out. And it was like, then he got used to it and he loved it. But at first he was like, what is this? Because, he really wasn't used to being on a leash at all.
Yeah. So she says her guy is just under 20 pounds there. So
okay, yeah, the small medium is good for.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think this is great just because she does do rescue work. So this is an excellent tool for her to have.
If you're in rescue, you need one. You need to have one on hand for sure.
Yeah. So we do have quite a selection of the harness leads in our store. You can just go to thepetbistro.com and pick one up. We do have them also online. So I have the quick tab here open for our online store. If you're just up top here in the search bar, you can type in harness lead. It is 2 words. And we have all the different colors, varieties. We have the sizes. I don't know. Are you guys launching any new colors?
Yes. I was just going to tell you, we're launching some good ones. I should run and get it and show it to you. It's a pink and purple blend. And it's really nice looking. And to go with that, a purple turquoise. So the pink and purple is called Retro, and the purple turquoise is called Vaporwave. And they're super cool, and they're really, really fun colors.
That's awesome. I know a lot of people like to switch it up and have some fun with different colors.
They're good ones.
If you're classic, we have the regular black and red as well, which those also have reflective flecks in them. So these are always great too if you're up north or camping or you need something walking. Now that it's getting dark earlier in Michigan, it's dark by like 7 o'clock now. If you're out walking later in the evening and you want something like that. So we do have them here on our website. You can always call the store. We have them in store for sale as well. Different colors, different sizes. We're always getting new in stock, and I'm sure we'll bring in the 2 new colors because those sound fun and amazing. Anything else that you think we missed today, Lisa? Anything you think we missed today?
I think we covered it all. I think we pretty much covered it all. It was fun. It was fun talking to you today. And
of course, I'm so glad you could join us. So this has been very informative. I love all the information that you gave us today about your company, Harness Lead. And it is National Dog Walking Week. So I hope everybody gets out and has a nice fall walk before it gets too cold. It is also National Black Dog Day, so we'd love to see all your pups out there. If you have a picture of your dog in the harness lead, please share it with us too, because that's always fun for us to see. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it in the comments below. We'll circle back around and make sure they get answered. So I hope everyone has a fabulous day, and we'll talk to Lisa here probably soon.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.
Yes, of course. So glad you could join.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.